Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, this is part 2 of mastering the art of styling, and we're going to be talking about the next 5 biggest mistakes that fashion stylists, aspiring stylists make when they are starting out, or when they're trying to get their feet wet, understand the industry, and get it going, like get their business going. So if you haven't yet seen the part 1, make sure that you go back and watch that one. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Give me a thumbs up as well. Let me know if you like this information, if it's helpful for you, because I just want to know, and I want to know if I'm being able to help you get your foot in the door, get going. Like, I know that that's why you're here, so make sure that you give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all those things, because it really helps this channel. All right, now let's jump into the number 6 mistake that a lot of people make when first starting out, and that is disregarding feedback. And that has to do with constructive criticism. So I'll give you an example of that. Say, for example, you have a client and you got these outfits for them. You think they bomb. Like, you like, oh, they gonna like this. This is about to be it. This is the one. And they give you the driest or maybe even rude response to what you thought was about to be it. You can't take it personally. Like, that is huge, not only in fashion styling or working with people, but you can't take things personally. Like, okay, maybe you thought that was it, but the number one thing that you should be trying to do is make sure that you're making your client comfortable, making sure that you are delivering for them. Yeah, and you can provide feedback yourself. You can give them tips, and sit down, Zusi. You can provide them with information on why you think this piece is perfect and all those things. But remember, you have to know your client. Like, I did the video a few weeks ago on Ellie 30, who is Steve Harvey's stylist and also Lori Harvey's stylist. And one of his main things, which is so important, is knowing your client. Like, your personal styling, or you're working with an individual as a stylist, not a brand, and not maybe a production or something like that. You're working specifically with an individual. You have to know your client. You have to know your client. And I usually say, like, the back of your hand. You can't know anybody like the back of your hand like that as if it's a client, but you gotta know them. So Ellie knew Lori since they were 16 years old, or she was 16 years old. They're best friends. He knows his client. And for real, I think that that's the reason why as soon as she started styling her, it popped off. Like, he was styling Steve Harvey and the outfits were great, but even as he's 5 years in working with Steve Harvey, I feel like it's really popping now because he's gotten the time to get to know his client, and throughout the years of just working with him. But with Lori, I feel like it jumped off because he knows her. They know each other. He knows what her goals are. He knows where her alter ego is. He knows his client. And so that is what you should be really focusing on. So don't take the criticism the wrong way. Don't take things personally. Just know what your ultimate goal is there, to help your client be more confident, be their most authentic selves, and just grow from there. Like, your job is to help people from the inside out, and the way to do that is to make them feel the most comfortable that they can feel, confident that they can feel through style. All right, the number 7 mistake is going to be neglecting trend awareness. Now, I'm a firm believer in sticking to your style, but there's always going to be a trend. Like, and maybe I'm saying that the wrong way. I just feel like, yes, you'll have your go-to pieces, right? But there's seasons. Fashion is always ever evolving, and it's also ever cycling. So be on top of trend reports. Like, there's so many different ways you can find the trends that are coming out. Or, you know, it's so crazy because I feel like as a stylist, I will always have like these pieces that would be so far ahead of the seasons, and then they will come out on the runway. But it's kind of like a insight that you have, and maybe it comes through subconsciously researching or just looking at fashion all the time that you know these things. But if you're not tapped in like that yet, you should be looking for different trends. And you can do that through blogs, vlogs. You can do that through websites. You can do that through magazines, which we used to do all the time. You can still find different trend reports. But even when I was in school, I definitely had to learn that. When I was in fashion merchandising, we studied trends and how to research trends. So maybe it's like fashion nature, maybe it's like second nature to me, but being on top of the trends is so important because it'll allow you to really see what's ahead of time. And people are coming to you because they trust you. They know that you know what's getting ready to pop, or you know how to put things together based on the trends, based on the season. And YouTube University, Google University, I say I graduated school and passed with flying colors because of those two universities. So look, research. You should always be researching. But also, keep it, your style, what works and what doesn't work. So keep that in mind as well, but just definitely be on top of the trends. You need to be aware of what's going on in the fashion industry, no matter what. Like, if you are in this industry, you should be researching. And it's so easy too, I would even say on social media. Like, you could just be scrolling all day and keep in mind things that you see, or saving I did a video on how to save folders on Instagram. To create like mood boards for yourself, but you can do that as well. Start saving images, seeing what's coming out. If you're following fashion pages, you can do it that way. If you're following different brands, you can do it that way. I don't know what that noise was. If you're doing that, if you're following brands, you can do it that way. There's just so many different ways that you can follow trends. You can see what's happening, and you want to make sure that you're on top of that. Side note, but it was this, like what I was talking about Google and how like you could look anything up on YouTube or Google. It was this meme that I saw, and it was hilarious because it was like this girl, and she was on Google. It says, when your boyfriend rolls over in the middle of the night, what does that mean? Like, she typed that into Google. You can ask Google anything and it will give you an answer. So if you're looking up, what are the trends for fall 2024? If you are just asking it, it's going to give you a ton of information. Just look and see what you find. Vogue, you can get the Vogue app and they'll give you information. They'll give you just all the different runway shows, but you can see from there. You can see what was in the past. You can see what was present. You can see what's going to be. Like, you can see all that information on those apps as well, on Vogue as well. Okay, the number 8 mistake is going to be failing to build your own online presence. We kind of talked about that in the previous video, and that was networking, but this one is in building your personal brand, but this one is more so on using your social media as your business card. I had someone reach out to me and ask me what kind of information should they be posting on their social media. And what you really want to be doing are these 3 things. And this has nothing to do with styling, but for any business that is trying to grow and have a great online engaged presence, what I'll suggest is you tap into one social network and master it, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram. Don't call me old. I don't know if that was all of them, but I feel like those are the main 3. Focus on one of those and master it. Your main focus should be building your online presence. And that is because you can have an amazing brand, but no one know about it. And you can have an online business and not have the right information that people would understand what it is you're actually doing. So you always want to have in your bio exactly what your title is. Now, okay, for example, maybe you're doing maternity shoots. You're a stylist specifically for maternity shoots. Have that in your title, and then have your name, then have a way to contact you, a link in your bio. Then as far as your social, so the 3 main types of information that you want to post on whatever platform you have is creative content, which is just, what it is that you're doing. You're doing your portfolio type of content. You want to have that type of information on there. And you also want to have personal information on that. They need to engage. They need to see you. They need to, I wouldn't necessarily say hear you, but it's very good for people to hear you. It builds trust. And also showing, you don't have to show your whole life, but just show little bits and pieces of it. For example, me, I have my dog, I have my family. As my life evolves, I'll add other little things in there. You want to keep your personal life, private, but you also want to be able to open up and show different parts of your life that you're comfortable sharing, so that you can build trust with those people that you want to draw into you. This is a relationship type business. People have to trust you. It takes people 7 times or more to see you in order to trust you, in order to work with you or buy your product or your service or whatever it may be. So you want to have that, and you also want to have some type of educational content, maybe tips for styling, or maybe why you want to try this or why you don't want to try this, some type of educational information as well. So those are the 3 things that you really want to create, whatever type of platform you choose. Having an online presence is non-negotiable if you have a brand and if you are wanting to be a stylist, whether it be virtual stylist, whatever it is. And the personal touch behind it really allows people to draw in and get to know you quicker than having a platform that does not show anybody, and no one, like, am I buying from a robot? Am I buying from, who is this person? So you got to know the person that you're going to be working with, and that's why adding that personal touch is very, very huge. And then again, as we touched in part 1, but with your website, everything should be cohesive. Now that means your branding, as far as your colors, your fonts, your content, the type of information, like you want it to be cohesive. You want it all to align. You want wherever anybody goes, they know that's you. Like, that's how you should be thinking about your brand. It should be across all boards. Your website, your social media, like I said, your online presence is your business card. Okay, the number 9 mistake is going to be burning yourself out, like doing too much. And having balance is so important. And I'll give you an example. This past summer, I had just moved into my condo, and I was trying to just create so much. I was trying to do at least like 3 or 5 videos, upload like 3 or 5 every week, and I burnt myself out, y'all. Like, I was exhausted. And even to tap in before styling, I was just doing so much that I did not take care of myself, and I was tired, and I feel like I wasn't able to really produce and create the way I really know that I could show up. And it has to do with the burnout. Like, you got to find some balance. I created a video on how to find like balance with what you're doing, whether you have a 9 to 5 and you're trying to be a stylist, whether you have another business you're trying to work on, or whether you have family or you have other responsibilities. How to find balance is going to be so essential for you. And the reason is because it's going to help you with the longevity of your career. And should you fall into, anything or that throws you off, you can always get back in flow. You can always find your balance. And that also has to do with having a routine, which is very important as well. I talked about that in another video. I'll leave some information below for some of these additional tips that I'm providing, because I know that this is precise to the biggest mistakes, but everything ties together. But I really know that balance is going to be huge for you, and not having balance is a huge mistake. Like, don't overdo anything, because you're going to fall off so much faster. Like, if you're burning yourself out and you fall off, it's hard to get back to that momentum. So making sure that you're able to get back in flow, or really just have a routine where you're not going to burn. And it happens sometimes, it's okay. But just being able to get back in flow is going to be so helpful for you and the longevity of your career. Okay, the number 10 mistake is going to be not embracing diversity. So this has to do with, a lot of times people feel like a stylist is only a celebrity stylist. Do you know how many people there are in this world, and how much people really just need help? Like, when I ended the other video, and I'll end this one the same way, but I just feel like we need people out here who really just want to help other people. All you need, think about how many people there are in the world. You only need 1% to have a successful business. So that's why knowing who your perfect client is, your niche, knowing who your client is going to be is important. And thinking outside of the box, diversity, like thinking outside of just celebrities. Thinking, okay, for example, there's this Netflix TV show. I'll put it up here, but it is about an aspiring stylist. Well, I think she was really like a good stylist for a while. She was working with her Beyonce at the time. Things happened, but it's cool. You guys should watch it. It's about the stylist. But they went through a breakup, and she was trying to get her foot back in the door with styling. But she had a job styling for drag shows. She designed costumes for drag shows, so that was her niche. And from there, and her relationships, she was able to get a celebrity client out of that. Like, that was the whole, you know, storyline. Well, not the whole storyline, but one of the main storylines was her being a stylist, and that she was a stylist for drag shows. So I think that's really cool. So just think outside the box. Like, when I started, yeah, I knew professional athletes because I was an athlete. That's how I got some of my, you know, experience. But I also have friends that were actresses. So I had to find like my niche and what I was really passionate about. And through the years, I found that I really loved working in the athletic world. Like, I was working with Under Armour. I was working, you know, different jobs that allowed me to work in a field that I was familiar with because I was an athlete myself. So think outside the box. There's so many people out here. Yes, I just gave you 2 big ones that are like really small, but moms, executive men, executive women, attorneys, to even be more specific. I would say entrepreneurs, but you got to make sure the one that you tap into is an entrepreneur that actually has funding in order to hire a stylist. But that could be one. Like I said before, maternity shoots, bridal, just so many different brands. It's so many different types of niche. Maybe that'll be a video that I'll do all the different types of styling or niches in styling. That would be cool. So you guys can just see how diverse the industry is, how many different people there are in the world that you can work with and be successful. Like, you only need that 1%. And I hope that takes away some of the pressure and some of the anxiousness that comes with trying to figure out why you gotta style all these different people when you really don't. You need to just tap into who your perfect client is going to be. Those were the second 5 batch of biggest mistakes that a lot of aspiring stylists make when they're first starting out. If you found this information helpful, please let me know. I would love your feedback. And also, if you are wanting to further your education or further the information that you have received from these videos, make sure that you sign up for my newsletter, where I give occasional tips and information on the styling industry, the fashion world, branding. You can also order my ebook, which is Becoming a Stylist: Secrets That They Don't Want You to Know, if you want to know more in-depth information about the fashion styling industry, my experiences. And then there's also the Stylist Starter Kit, which gives you a full-blown course program, self-paced, where you can learn contracts, marketing, branding your business, personal branding your business, social media, market. All those things are going to be inside that program. And I think of it as like a little black book where whenever you need it, it's right there. All the information you need is right there. And I know it's hard to just find that sometimes, looking everywhere online, looking through books, asking different people, but to have it in one place, it's amazing to have. I wish I had it, and that's why I created that program, because I know how I felt when I first started out, and I just want to be able to give some type of information to help you. So I hope that you guys found this information helpful. I appreciate you so much, and I love you. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.